My name's Andy, Andy Dickinson. On Instagram, I'm Andy0161. I've collected sneakers on and off since I was 11, 12 years old. I had a period in between where I didn't really bother. Came back into it full force, built up my collection. Yeah. So the passion and the reason I collect shoes, we were watching Saturday morning TV. There was a programme on where the Reebok Omnizone had just come out. There was a competition to design your own Reebok and send it in. I asked my mum if we did it, would she send it in for us? She said, yeah. A few weeks had passed and I saw my picture on the wall and I instantly thought I'd won. I hadn't. It was amongst many other pictures. And that was really, I think, the start of it. I didn't win and I moaned at my mum for months and months and months to buy me these shoes, which she wasn't too happy with at the start. They were very expensive. But after months of moaning, it got to a point she made an agreement with me that she'll buy them me as long as we don't ever tell my dad how much they cost. So still to this day, my dad has no idea. The Reebok. This is the shoe that started it all for me. The Reebok Omnizone 2. With a lot of people, it starts with Jordan. With me, it was D Brown. As a kid, this felt really futuristic, like the pump. I genuinely thought it'd make me jump higher, run faster. If I pictured early 90s shoe, that's the shoe that I would picture. This is probably my all-time favourite shoe. The amount of pairs I've got is hard to judge. I do have some in the attic. I've never really wanted to know how many I've got. It's never been something I've ever really cared to know the answer for. I constantly just add to it. I don't sell shoes. I don't really get rid of shoes. I've given a few away over the time, but I've never really cared to know how many I've got. What I like about collecting various brands is the different technology and the different design aspects each brand brings. I do think there's a huge difference between Nike and Adidas, Saucony, New Balance. They all bring that something a little bit different to the game. Especially when it comes to stuff like cushioning and comfort. I think at the moment, since Boost, I think Adidas probably edge it a little bit with like the new Cloud Foam is probably the most comfortable shoe I've ever worn. So yeah, design aspects and comfort is the reason why. So the brand I probably gravitate to the most is probably Converse. I'm huge on Chuck 70s. What I have noticed over time without it being intentional is my collection's full of collaborations. So I do have a few rare pairs in my collection. I have SP Gina Jordan 1. Gina got game. She was a school teacher in America, quite an elderly lady who had amazing footwear, and the kids really took to her because of her shoes. Shoe Palace had a collaboration with Jordan, so they thought they'd get her involved. It's beautiful shoes. This is my favourite Jordan 1. I like how they did the little apple to represent that she was a teacher. Shoe Palace. On Instagram, she's Gina Got Game. If you look on her Instagram, you can see the amount of fire that she had. You had to do a school test when these first released. You had to sit at a desk and do a little test to win your opportunity to get the shoes. Yes, my favourite Jordan 1. Material, even I don't really know what this is. Different lights, it looks a bit different colour. It's really, really nice. When it comes to old pairs, I've actually got the size and staple 577 V3s. I think that was about 2012 when they released. Sample pairs of Reebok Omnizone. What I like about collaborations is the collaborator bringing something to an already known silhouette. I think sometimes when they get it right, it works perfectly. An example of that, I think, would be something like the Carrots Puma Suede. The way it looks like a carrot, the way he'd done the laces like at the top, the green of the carrot, the orange shoe. I think that was a perfect example of a collaboration done right. Or the Run DMC Superstar. Again, I think it was another example of this makes perfect sense to have a superstar, a shell toe, run DMC.
This was a collaboration I was really excited to see, the Kerwin Frost with Adidas, because I really like Kerwin Frost. I think he's a weirdo, and I thought we were going to get something really, really special, which I do think these are. I think he dropped a Yeti suit with these as well, which was wild. Materials of these and the way they look, like a little Yeti shoe. Perfect. This is exactly what I wanted off Kerwin. This was, yeah, more of this. This is what I wanted. I really like the silver 3 stripes on the inside. Just the standard blue on the outside. Yeah, really nice.
So my top 3 collaborations in my collection would be the Strangelove SB Dunks.
Did just everything right with this. The materials, I love the colour, the crushed velvet. It's absolutely beautiful.
I'd have to go with the Wotherspoons, the 97 ones. I think we all are going to pick that, I think.
It took me a long time to get this shoe. My friend had 2 pairs. It took me over 12 months to convince him to let me have a pair of the shoes. I dropped it into every conversation we could do. If we went for something to eat, I said, do you need some cutlery? He said, yeah. I said, do you need a knife? Yeah. Do you need a fork? Yeah. Do you need a spoon? Yeah. Speaking of spoons, do you know you've got 2 pairs? Like every conversation I could ever drop it into. After, I'm going to say 14 months, I reckon it took before he said, I'm going to actually sort you out. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful to own these because I didn't think it was going to happen. Beautiful. I think this is a grail to, this is a sneakerhead shoe. As much as everybody wanted it, I think this is the shoe, I think.
My third one will be a size release. My third one will be the Manchester B Air Force One. To be Mancunian and have a shoe that represented our city and how well that shoe was done was 10 out of 10 for me. So the brand that's probably grown on me the most over the last few years is Saucony. I think for the price point and what you get is just better than other brands. I think certain brands maybe slack on quality control, knowing they already have the audience, knowing that people are going to buy the shoes. I think Saucony have really made the effort to keep the quality as high as possible at a great price point, and I really like everything they do.
These are the Saucony Shadow 6000, the food fights. I like how Saucony love a food themed shoe. And I like how over the years, the amount of food themed shoes that they've dropped, they decided to do. This is like the What the Dunk. They kind of did their own thing with this. So the amount of shoes that they've done like avocado on toast and the burgers, and they'd kind of put all of the collaborations together into one pair of shoes. So these were the food fights. I thought the concept and the idea was really, really smart. Beautiful. Materials are really, really nice. Design is banging. Beautiful shoe. Very, very, very underrated brand.
If I could design my own shoe with any brand, it's between 2. I'd love to do a Chuck 70, but I'd also really like to do a Saucony Shadow. If I was offered, I would jump at the chance. So really, I've just travelled around the UK to collect pairs. I think we've all travelled to London to pick up pairs. I do have friends in America that send me stuff over, so with a lot of exclusive stuff to the US, that maybe it's easier these days with certain websites like StockX and things like that. Maybe we actually can get these things, but I do have American friends that are more than willing to send me stuff, and I do the same with them. So I don't really have a list of what I'm looking for. There are a few pairs that I keep my eyes open for. The Nigel Sylvester Jordan 1s is a pair that I would like to get hold of, but I don't really have a list set. It never stops. Shoes always release constantly, so I'm not too focused on what's already come out that I'm trying to get. I think the trends are very different because you have subgenres within the trend anyway. You have a lot of the people that are into the terrace style stuff, so it's the Adidas Sambas and the stuff like that. I see shops like Size have a huge community around that shoe. Where when it comes to the drops, you have a lot of people that are more just into the air and stuff, people that are into hype, and then you have the shoes that kind of overspill from the casual consumer, like a Samba, how that kind of had a little re-emergence, like it was a new shoe 2 or 3 years ago. Not that it's been out for over many years, I think trends come in circles. It seems to, with dunks, I've picked up pairs. I got the Della Soul dunks for about £40. I see them reselling now for £400-500, or there was at one point, I don't know what they, but yeah, I think it comes in circles.